Now we're ready. Okay. So tonight, keep in mind that I wasn't home until about 5 o'clock my time, so I missed the first period of a couple of games, and then I had to do my treadmill because I had no chance to do it this morning. So I had to do that while I was watching hockey. Wasn't able to write notes. I've had it where I stopped the treadmill to put notes on the board. It's just kills me to do it. So no. And then tomorrow, just a reminder, I'm going to the Vancouver Dallas game, so I won't be able to take notes on tomorrow night's games. It'll be a little bit later, getting posted that review, and yet it'll get done. It's just going to be later. Okay, first up, Ottawa in against New Jersey. So are the Senators for real? Question I'm starting to ask myself. I don't think so, and I'm hope I'm not offending anybody saying it. I think Jean-Gabriel Pageau is for real, though. I think he's dragging him right now. Simmons scored from Wood and Heischer at 4:19 to make it 1-0 for New Jersey. Pageau then scored from Connor Brown at 14:54. And little did we know we were going to witness history for Pageau tonight. Butcher would score from Gusev and Coleman at 17:52. So it's 2-1 New Jersey after the first. And they were playing pretty well in that first period. Second period, Anderson had a really nice stop on Jack Hughes, and that was a really good road period for the Senators. Really, really was. And even though they were down 2-1, it felt like, well, they're still in this. They're only down by one, and New Jersey is known for losing leads. So one thing that I had in mind going into the third period with them in Vancouver on Sunday was, well, I don't like being down, but New Jersey's known for blowing leads. Third period, yep, a little bit past halfway, you see Borowiecki score from Zaitsev and Chlapik at 13:30. That's the second of the year, and it's a nice one, too. So it's not like the two that he's had this year have been ugly garbage goals or anything. Not bad. And then the Sens pushed after tying it. So rather than sitting back and going, all right, well, we're going to try to get a point on the road, they went for the second. Pageau scored from Paul and Brown at 17:59, and that seemed to take the wind out of the crowd pretty quick. New Jersey's had a really rough time of it so far. This game tonight didn't help. They pulled the goalie with 1 minute and 40 seconds left, and Pageau hits the empty net at 19:34. That is his first career hat trick. He's up to 11 goals on the season right now. He is scoring at a ridiculous pace in November. He is having a Patrick Laine November. Keep in mind, he's a free agent after this year. I'm not saying these two things correlate, but it's a nice, happy coincidence that this is happening when his contract's due. So 4-2 is your final for Ottawa. They shock the New Jersey Devils, and that's a shocker to me. 3 stars, Pageau, Blackwood, and Simmons. So Blackwood gets second star even in the loss. 21 saves on 24 shots. Craig Anderson saved 21 out of 23. Power plays, Ottawa goes 0 for 1 because they don't score on the power play. New Jersey goes 0 for 3 because they usually don't score on the power play either, although their percentage is higher than Ottawa's. Shots 11-7 New Jersey in the first, 9-7 Ottawa in the second, 9-5 Ottawa in the third. Final shots 25-23 in favor of the Senators. Yeah, so if you didn't watch that game, you missed a decent third period. I'm not going to say anything regarding the first and the second and how those were, but the third, that was kind of exciting unless you're a New Jersey fan, in which case the third wasn't a lot of fun. Next up, Toronto, the John Tavares game. Big old John Tavares game. JT sucks chance, rain down. It was not as bad as last year, so at least that drama is gone for the most part. There will always be booing. There will always be chants against John Tavares. And when the Islanders beat Toronto, we don't need you chants are going to happen. First period, Barzal scores from Eberle at 14:23, and then Beauvillier scores from Pollock and Brassard at 19:21. So that last-minute goal by the Islanders. However, in the second period, a first-minute goal. Kapanen from Tavares and Dermott. So 43 seconds in, Tavares with an assist. Nylander would then score from Janssen and Muzzin at 11:22. The Islanders were without a shot since the second goal. No shots in that second period at that point. And Nylander, I'd put there, Nylander's a beast tonight. Just all the highlights they were showing and then watching that goal and just seeing him out there, great. The second period, the shots were 12-1 at the 16-minute mark in favor of Toronto. Everything's going for Toronto, which means Beauvillier scores from Brassard and Nelson at 16:43. That's the second shot of the period for the Islanders, and it went in the net. And the weird thing was they showed Tyson Barrie just skating out, and Kerfoot was the only Leaf defending. So both defensemen left the zone, including Barrie. Don't assume the puck's coming out. That's just bad planning, and Kerfoot was not able to handle it. So the Islanders get a relatively easy goal there. Third period, Leafs got a power play early. It felt like a key moment, and they didn't score on it. And I don't think they had a shot on that second power play either. Great pressure shorthanded by Cizikas, one of the best shifts that you're going to see. The Islanders got a power play. They scored on theirs. Brassard from Barzal and Pulock at 8:07. And, despite a great second period for Toronto, this is an Islanders game. This is kind of how this works. Goalie pull with 3 minutes left, and guess what happens? An empty netter. It's Cizikas from Bailey at 17:32. So nice to see Cizikas get a goal after all the hard work he put in tonight. However, Toronto wasn't going away. It's Hall from Gauthier and Shore at 18:13, and then Tavares from Riley and Matthews at 19:22, which was met with resounding cheers from a crowd that says we still... No, didn't. Anderson saved 25 out of 29. That's as close as Toronto would get. The final score is 5-4 Islanders. Varlamov saved 23 out of 27. So your three stars are Beauvillier, Brassard, and Barzal. So unless your last name started with B, you weren't allowed to be one of the 3 stars tonight. It's just a rule. Power plays, Toronto goes 0 for 2. The Islanders go 2 for 3. Shots were 9-5 in the first period for the Islanders. 13-6 Toronto in the second. 15-9 Islanders in the third. Final shots 30-27 in favor of the Islanders. So yeah, it's another one of those games. And for Toronto, this one hurts. I know the Islanders have been playing really well. This is 13 straight games now where they haven't lost in regulation and all that stuff. But this is one that Toronto really needed. And they just continued their reeling. And it's getting worse. I thought it was funny seeing that article today, like, will the Leafs be out of the playoffs when Marner gets back? Aren't they out of the playoffs now? If not, tonight might have done it. So, anyways, I just thought that was such a weird title for an article. I'm thinking, well, aren't they in the danger of not making it now? All right, with Marner. Next up, Washington. They go in and they played a great game, and you know what? So did Philly. First period, Leipzig scored from Karlsson and Dowd at 6:13 because Karlsson has to get a point in every game. He is cruising to the Norris Trophy. Second period, the Caps got a power play early. After being denied on that, the Flyers got a power play chance. Konechny was denied by Holtby. Konechny had a really good second period. There was a close miss at around the halfway mark by Chandler Stevenson. The Caps got a third power play. Wouldn't get through it. The Flyers killed it. They got one. But Braden Holtby stood tall. So did Carter Hart. Both goaltenders, and I put this up in the third period, both goaltenders playing really, really well tonight. Carter Hart is starting to round into form. And, yeah, Philly's legit. This game tonight shows me, even though the result, they don't come out on the winning end, this game tonight, yeah, they're legit. Niskanen drew a penalty against Dowd. And on that power play, Giroux would score from Voracek and Provorov at 6:38 to tie it at 1. The crowd was really fired up after that. Hart denied Wilson, and then he denied him again. So Tom Wilson with 2 really good opportunities. On one of them, he thought he was, I believe, was hooked or held. But he had 2 good opportunities, didn't end up drawing a penalty out of it, and couldn't get one past Hart. So we go to overtime. Holtby stopped Niskanen in the overtime. Couturier then hit a post. So this could have been done in Philly's favor, but post for Couturier. The Caps couldn't change lines. The Flyers 3 times changed lines. The Caps couldn't change once. But since Ovechkin was one of those 3, he did manage to come out and got a nice break out of it for somebody who could have had 0 oxygen left at that stage. Hart then had a save off Eller where he looked back. It's always terrifying when a goalie does that. When he makes the save and then do I have it? Is it there? Are we okay? Don't look back, you have it. So we go to a shootout, and Kuznetsov scores the winner in the shootout. So it's a shootout win for the Washington Capitals. They keep rolling. The Islanders keep rolling. But for Philadelphia, gutsy point. against a team that really has been the best in the league. So again, this is a very impressive game for me by the Philadelphia Flyers. Holtby 30 out of 31 for his saves. Hart saves 35 out of 36. Is the first star. Kuznetsov second and Holtby's third. I can't argue with any of that. Your shots, 16-5 Washington in the first. 12-6 Flyers in the second. 11-10 for the Caps in the third. 4-3 in the overtime for Philly. Final shots, 36-31 for Washington. Power plays, Washington goes 0 for 3. Flyers go 1 for 4. So it's nice to see 7 shots in a 5-minute overtime period. It is nice to see two teams actually going for it. Can't stand it when I see teams sitting back and playing back, and it's like I understand the puck control part of it, but when it feels like they're just playing to get to the shootout, that's weird. But you see that every now and then where you're like they're playing for the shootout. They figure they have a better chance with the shootout than they do at 3-on-3. All right, moving along. Dallas. All right, so Dallas has made this a pattern. Low-scoring games. They don't score a lot. Their opponents don't score a lot either. They rely on very good goaltending and solid defense. And it worked again tonight. It absolutely worked. There was no scoring in the first because it's a Dallas game. Their power play in the first, nope. When I saw they were on a power play in the first, I'm like, yeah, that's not going to happen. And it just didn't happen. Then in the second, something weird happened. Pavelski, on the road with Dallas, scored a power play goal from Gurianov and Heiskanen at 3:22. So, and this was at the end of a power play, so it didn't look like a power play goal. It was a quick break. But when you have 5 players and they have 4, sometimes that works better. I don't care that it was ugly. It was a power play goal for Dallas. So we'll see if they can carry that over into tomorrow night in Vancouver, which should be a really fun game. But Dallas came out of the second period with a 1-0 lead in Calgary. That's impressive. Second period is over. Third period, Dowling scored at 6:38. What was funny about this was that his mother's in the crowd. Because he's from Alberta, so his mom, friends, family were all there. They asked the mother what she thought of his goal, and she said she didn't see it. She was attending to a drink at the time. So that was very entertaining. It's one of those moments that you can't plan for, and it was really quite funny. So Dowling scores. His mom will have to see it on the highlights because she was busy attending to a drink. And it's 2-0. But not long after, on a power play, Monahan scores from Tkachuk and Gaudreau at 9:57. So it's a 2-1 game. And for Dallas, this is kind of how things work. There's nothing done easily. There's no Dallas game, for the most part, that towards the end of the game you're saying, all right, well, we've got this. This is done. Usually it'll be a white-knuckle kind of adventure. The Flames were definitely playing better in the third period than they did in the second. The second was all Calgary, or all Dallas. The only reason this game was as close as it was is Talbot. And I think this was Talbot's best game as a Flame thus far. Cogliano got injured at some point here, and lower body injury. He didn't return to the game. So we'll see how long he's out for. Just seems like everybody in Dallas is getting hurt. They were talking about who's ready to come back and who's out, and it's, yeah, of course. So we'll just add another one to the injured list. Tonight also was Corey Perry's 1,000th game. He had some chances. He had some really nice block shots as well, and Calgary gave him kind of a nice video package and salute and crowd response for a guy who is not known for being popular with other teams. So Anderson then went down. There was no call on that one. There was some debate about whether or not there should have been a penalty there. The goalie gets pulled with 2 minutes left. That gives Pavelski an empty net. He hits it with a minute and 33 seconds left. Foxa gets the assist. So Pavelski, couple of goals tonight. And he is starting to find his way in Dallas. His numbers are starting to get better. They pulled the goalie again. They didn't score. Dallas didn't score either. But it was a good night for Dallas. This is another one of those ones where they win it 3-1. It's not a particularly pretty way they win it, but they win it, and they go above 500. Now they're 9-8-2, and they can start trying to move even further forward. And if anybody's wondering, what's he hoping for tomorrow night when he watches Dallas and Vancouver? I'd like to see some overtime. I'd like to see both teams at least get a point out of it. Back in the day, way back when, I used to say, I hope they get a tie. That would be nice. I don't want to see either of them feeling bad about themselves. Both get a tie. Bishop saves 24 out of 25. Talbot saved 29 out of 31. Talbot's your first star. Dowling's second star. And Pavelski's third star. Shots were 8 apiece in the first, 18-6 Dallas in the second, 11-6 in the third for Calgary. Final shots 32-25 for the Stars. Power plays, Dallas goes 1 for 3, Calgary went 1 for 4. So overall, a pretty decent night for the Dallas Stars. We'll see how things go for them tomorrow night in Vancouver. But for now, I do need to change boards. And the last game of the night, shocker. Gonna be honest. This is the first time that the Chicago Blackhawks have ever beaten the Vegas Golden Knights. Now, it's over a short history, right? Not a lot of games, but still, they went into Vegas and they beat them, and it's how that's a really big surprise. So Carrier scores from Haig and Raw at 248 or 258. Fleury had a really good save on Nylander in there. Carlson then scores from Marchessault and Tuck at 6:29 on the power play. And Vegas is off and running. They're off and running. You can't stop them when that happens until 16 seconds later, Kane scored from Strome and DeBrincat and stopped. It's 2-1 at that stage of the game. So we go into the second period. The ref thought that Tuck had scored and he didn't. So, and this is where I'm on the treadmill for a lot of this, so that's why there's not a lot of notes. That the game, it felt like, was all Vegas. Tuck gets that goal, and what was weird was it looked like it bounced out, and the referee points at the net and blows the whistle like, nope, that's in. They go to a replay, and it didn't go in. It wasn't even close. It went off the crossbar, post, and out. So I'm not sure what the referee thought he saw, but he didn't. And it felt like it fired up Chicago. Because at 4:09, DeHaan scores from Smith and Doc, and that was not long after that goal was called back because it didn't go in the net. Then Gustafsson scored from Strome and Kane at 4:54, and you could sort of feel it in the crowd. Not again. Vegas has scored more goals in the first period than any other team in the NHL. Their record after that, a little spotty. And their goal differential between periods is stunning as well. So they come out of the second period down 3-2, even though the shots at that point were 31-17 in their favor. It's not good. So Vegas in the third period, they pushed, Crawford held. Taves tried to aim 5-hole on Fleury. It didn't work. Taves must not have got the memo. That's not where they were scoring goals. Doc scored from Smith and Carpenter at 3:57. Yes, that Carpenter that was a Vegas Golden Knight before. Vegas then got a power play. They wouldn't score on it. There were some power plays back and forth here and there, kind of, sort of, but not really. There were calls that the fans wanted made. There were calls the Hawks might have wanted made. The honest truth is the referee kind of puts the whistle away like, no, we're going to settle this. And I don't mind that. As long as both teams understand that's what's going on, you're usually going to have a pretty good game. Strome scores from DeBrincat and Kane at 16:39. And he scored high glove side, and that was the third goal that was scored high glove side. I'm not going to say there's a book on Fleury, but when you see 3 goals in the exact same spot, which is what Chicago did tonight, the thing is, we've talked about this before where you might see a weakness with a goaltender high glove. That is not an unusual spot to see goals get scored. With the way goaltenders are now, with how big they are, scoring low, your odds of getting a goal are much, much lower, so you're much better off taking that high shot, which is what Strome did and what 2 of his teammates did as well out of the 5 goals that were scored. And this one was frustrating because they were likely thinking about pulling the goalie. This is with the goalie still in. So with 1 minute left, Schmidt made it kind of interesting. He scores from Carlson and McNabb, so 19 minutes. This was not going to end up being tied. There was no way they were going to score 3 goals in a minute. So while Chicago's been known to make things dramatic as well, no, 3-goal lead with a minute left, that's pretty safe. Crawford saves 39 out of 42. Fleury saves 21 out of 26. Your 3 stars are Kane, Strome, and Tuck. In this game, to be 3 stars, you had to have a 1-syllable last name, but no more than that. Power plays, Chicago 0 for 1, Vegas 1 for 2. Shots favored Vegas the whole way. 16-8 in the first, 15-9 in the second, 11-9 in the third. Final shots, 42-26. And the one thing I will say is that defense didn't look very good in the second and the third for Vegas. I know everybody throws Merrill under the bus. I kind of get that, but I don't think it's all Merrill. I've talked about Merrill before where I've said I don't see him as being a great defenseman, but I don't see this as being all Merrill. I think there's some real issues going on with Vegas right now. They're not winning. They're not winning at home. They're not winning on the road. And this result tonight is one of those ones that, much like Toronto's in against the Islanders, I found it to be kind of an alarming loss. We'll see if they bounce back. Let me know what you guys thought about tonight's games. Yes, these are brand new magnets. I intend to have every game scored that way because I think it just looks better. I had that idea last week where I was putting up scores and I thought, if I had number magnets, that would be better. And it's like, oh, that's exactly what I need to do. So there you go. Thank you guys so much for all your support and for watching the videos every day and all that wonderful stuff. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe if you haven't done so yet. Past 127,000 today. Thank you to everybody who has hit like and subscribe. I will continue to provide the content that is expected from this channel. And thank you guys so much for watching. I will talk to you again soon.